Don't outsource your financial life, understand it. You don't need to become an expert, but you need to know the basics.
I am so excited that you're going to be a part of this.
My pleasure.
Amit and I are just starting to talk to all of the different speakers and participants. So really honored and can't thank you enough for taking your time and hopefully, helping so many more people out. Because I think what you do at the IEP course, it's just resonates really well to how much more like the finance to the lending to all of these things that there are very little to no resources.
Much appreciated, man. Thanks for the kind words. And likewise, thanks for hosting this. It's clear that there's a gap within the educational context for folks like us to kind of get the learnings that they'll get from the course. And so it's my pleasure to be a part of it.
I think the one thing was, Amit can jump in on this. The difference I think from IEP to this rig, what we really wanted to do was cater to this idea that it's not just like an advanced, but the second part of it is to really tailor it to individual needs that they may have, right? Like I think a lot of times you come out of courses and it's like, okay, great, I got a lot of content, but how does that apply to my immediate decisions that I'm making? Am I looking for money? Am I looking to do an M&A? Am I looking to sell? Am I looking to set up a new ASC? And the other part is like we'll have some work groups where we will get some alone time with some of the folks that are registering. So the hope is that they know, okay, Dr. Marshall's giving me this kind of good content I can get from him. How do I engage him in a way that I come out of this and actually have some meaningful impact to my actual practice and life? So super excited about that. We're trying to make it as much more interactive and personalized to each participant.
So I know how to like tailor the advice and then spend some meaningful time with them. So when they leave, they're leaving with tangible takeaways that they're going to apply to whatever their challenge is. And I think the kind of like net promoter score or just the satisfaction of those kinds of curated rooms, it's through the roof because they'll leave with real tangible takeaways. Here's the first step, second, third, fourth step based upon where you are within your ASC credentialing process. Here's how you figure out how to put together an offering for a new doctor to come into your ASC. Here are the considerations from a regulatory perspective. Here are the firms that you should talk to that have a good national presence with good rates and do this a lot. And then there's going to be a lot of time with like networking, reception, time that you're spending with people, kind of just nurturing those relationships so they feel good about the experience, but also about the network afterwards.
Yeah, and I agree. I think you're doing exactly what we wanted. What you've done exactly what we want to do is to make the MD Life Network and the MD Life Summit as one entity and really have that network is the most important thing that they have access to. They're not going to have all their questions today, but they can talk to Dr. Marshall 6 months from now and get advice and or use you as a resource for the things that you do because things are going to be like continuum. I guess my big question is how did you get interested in helping healthcare providers? Because you could have given loans, you could have talked about networks, ASCs to anybody. Maybe not, I guess not ASC specifically, but any kind of business aspect. What gets you to focus on healthcare providers?
Yeah, fair question. For me, it came from my lived experience. As a physician, I did everything that we're taught to do, right? You work hard, you train at great institutions, you're focused in patient care. But when it came to financial and the business side of our careers, there was this huge gap. And no one really teaches you how to think about money, credit, or building a life outside of medicine. So what I started to realize is that so many incredibly talented physicians were under optimized, not because they weren't capable, but because they didn't have access to the right tools, the right information, or support system. And so that's what really led to Doc2Doc Lending. It's built around a simple idea that physicians deserve a financial system that actually understands them and their career trajectory, their risk profile, and their long-term potential are all encompassed in that understanding of who they are.
So I'll ask the easy one. Why MD Life Summit? I mean, I'm sure that you've got so many different opportunities to give out this incredible knowledge. What makes you excited about this summit, and why do you think it will be so unique?
I think many conferences and summits put speakers on a stage. They'll kind of determine the topics based upon the speaker's expertise without thoughtfulness around what the audience really needs to get from a summit. MD Life is unique in that it matches first the interests of the audience and what folks need to like tangibly make a leap forward in whatever their career aspiration is, and then having the speakers tailor their talks, tailor their tools to solving those problems or questions for the audience members. I think it's a high impact, very efficient use of someone's time to go to a conference or a meeting or a summit where they know they're going to leave with their questions answered. And that's why this one for me.
As a physician yourself and a physician entrepreneur, what is the best tip that you could give healthcare providers coming to the summit? Anything from your learned experience?
Yeah, always the one tip questions is really hard. There's so many things people need to learn. But if I give one piece of advice, it'd be this. Don't outsource your financial life. Understand it. You don't need to become an expert, but you need to know the basics, how debt works, how your income will evolve, how the decisions you make early compound over time. What I see all the time is doctors making reactive decisions, taking the first job offer, the first loan, the first financial advice, without really understanding the long-term implications. And the reality is that as a physician, your earning potential is your greatest asset. And when you pair that with intentional decision making early, it gives you options, freedom, flexibility, and leverage in your career. So the advice is simple. Be as thoughtful about your financial decisions as you are about your clinical decisions.
It sounds like we should meet you day one of our medical school.
Generally, I meet folks at the last day. Right now, like medical schools invite us to speak as a capstone when they're going from med school to residency,
That
because
makes
then
more
we talk
sense.
about that transition, the expenses, and but it, like having this kind of talk happen earlier makes sense. But I think medicine is very conservative. It's like we're supposed to be these do-gooders, folks that impact the world from a health perspective. And so, inculcating clinical acumen first makes sense. But burnout is so high because folks come out of training realizing that there's so much else that matters. Like we're gonna finally start to earn in our mid 30s when life happens a lot prior to then. So, you're mortgaging your youth for this career that's supposed to pay these dividends in terms of job satisfaction, income, and all these things, and you realize you're in a hamster wheel, and you're hitting, the up arrow for faster speed and faster incline, and you're breathless by the time you're done. And so as the sooner you get the kind of tools, the sooner you can take a breath and realize that there's not about working harder but smarter, and understanding where you have leverage makes all the sense.
Yeah, and that all translates to taking care of your patients well too.
Absolutely.
That it all translates. When you're secure financially, that means you can be secure and take care of patients financially as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
Amazing.
guess that what would be interesting, maybe when you get, and this may not be a question for today, but this is a tough balance having a company that does something and also a clinical practice too,
Yeah.
and then maybe having a life outside of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there
Yeah.
any kind of tricks and trades that you've been able to balance all these things, or just sacrifices you've made to be able to do that? Like any life perspective on things you might have done differently to be able to balance all of this?
I'm still figuring it out, man. I mean, I wish I can tell you that I've got the cheat code here. There are times when I feel like I'm overextended and over rotated to one business or the other. I do get a lot of joy from being a physician, though. So I never want to shortchange what I get clinically. Like I was trained to do this, right? Like I learned the finance banking stuff as I was building the company, and I have an MBA, but that's not what really, like MBA is not a teaching degree. You don't learn hard skills. You kind of learn to think differently. So the challenge has always been, how do I ensure that I feel good about what I'm doing in both businesses, but also for the people I'm doing it for, my family. Like if I'm working all the time and saying I'm doing all this for you guys and they never see me, like what's the point, you know? So I have a CEO coach. It's kind of like a therapist for business where I
Yeah.
track the time I'm spending in each business. I've got a great team in both. So like my CFO in the lending business is a seasoned veteran finance guy. He was at Bank of America Merrill Lynch for 30 years, left as a managing partner. He's operationally the leader. So day to day, the team kind of reports to him and then he reports to me and we meet. We meet every day for a few minutes, but we have an executive meeting on Mondays and Thursdays where the rest of the team gets to kind of bring their stuff to me as well. I'm more externally facing for that business. I meet with partners, with doctors and the like, but the running and the sausage making comes from him and that executive team. On the practice side, got a really talented associate who became partner recently and a team of good mid-level providers where like I'm the brand that patients hear of, but then when they come into the business, they meet the rest of the team. And so I don't have to be the one seeing everyone, and that's been helpful for scale. And as doctors think about building a practice and scaling it, it's hard to entice people with, your credentials, your name, your brand, and then they're sending referrals to you. And then how do you like extricate yourself and say, look, I mean, I'm great, but she's great too. It's okay if she takes care of them because I can't see them all. That's a delicate dance to kind of get out of. And then the family part, it's, like I've got two young kids, 8 and 10, and my wife and I will do family vacations at each major break, all of us. My wife and I do our couples trips. We do about 2 to 3 couples only trips a year, so we get that like time together. And then I'm a huge Formula One fan, so I go for races around the world by myself, right? So like we get the family, the couples, and then I get to be fed in the thing that I like to enjoy on my own. So I'm going to the Netherlands for the Dutch Grand Prix in August. I'll be in Sao Paulo Grand Prix in Brazil later on this year. Those are solo trips, and so together it all kind of feels like I'm fed, and I feel I'm in balance.
No, I think you had two key words. Number one, life balance. Number two, I think the most important one was teams. I think the team that you have, and family can be a team too. I think that's the
Right.
most important. Have the right team in every position. Otherwise, it's very difficult to, if one team falls, everything starts fracturing. So you really have to have focus on your teams at work, businesses, and those kind of things. So there is no I in team, as I hear.
It's funny. You give work to the busiest person, he'll get it done before everybody else. And that's like, it seems it's amazing to watch all of these incredible physicians doing so many wonderful things and impressive.
I know
Yeah,
exactly what you mean there. Like my
yeah,
best days are the days that I'm busy.
yeah,
Like if I have an OR with 15 cases compared to a clinic with 3 patients, I get so much more done in the 15
yeah,
case day in those
Yeah.
cases and other stuff
yeah,
than the
exactly.
slow 3 clinic. Okay, what's going on? Like it just feels like I'm out of sync when
Yeah.
it's just not enough.
So I have these deep discussions with, like the older generations, like my dad's always like, oh, you need more work-life balance, more time. But it's not just about the quantity, it's quality time, right? Like I think that's such
That's
a
right.
utilized thing. Like you're just sitting there as opposed to interacting with your kids. So same thing. We're gonna have to chat up that 10 and 8-year-old. I'm getting into that same groove here. So it's a busy time. So really excited about October. I think these are amazing pearls.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
fun, man. Thank you for the invitation. It's
Yeah.
gonna
And I
be
think
it's
you,
gonna be
and you
fun.
like you like the other members too. I think team here is going to be very good.
Well, thank you. Thank you both.
All
All right,
Addie,
right.
team.
thanks for
Thank
the
you. Good
organization
to
as
see you,
well.
Dr. Marshall.
We'll see you soon.
My pleasure. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.